What's up everybody? Welcome to the Average Joe Dividends YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to show you what I did with my $100 deposit. What I do is I do 2 deposits every week, $100 each. In the first part of the week, on Mondays, what I do is I let M1 do the picking. And what I mean by that is I deposit $100 and then based upon my allocation, you can see here between actual and target, that's where it's going to put the money. You can see we're underweighted in dividend portfolio. That's where the money would go. But in this case, we're in the second part of the week on Wednesday. I usually do these videos on Thursdays and Fridays. But again, I have a lot going on Thursday and Friday. So I'm just going to do the video now, do my buy now. And what I do is I pick 5 different stocks and I put $20 into each of those. And then I'll show you the impact it's going to have on my dividend income going forward. I'll also show you some historicals on the portfolio as well, and also some of the positions too, and how I track it. So what we're looking at right now, this is my taxable M1 stock brokerage account, my Average Joe dividends portfolio. This is about 15% of my total net worth. This is where I do some individual stock investing as well, but most of my holdings in here are actually in an ETF, which are an SCHD. But you can see everything arranged in here from the small or the largest position to the smallest positions. You can see SCHD and then BST. Those are the largest, and this is an ETF and this is a CEF, a closed-end fund. BST is, and then the rest are individual positions, with NVIDIA being the largest position, but it has one of the, actually the smallest cost basis. I've just gotten lucky with the appreciation, and a lot of people don't consider NVIDIA a dividend stock, but it does pay a very tiny dividend. What I'm hoping is over time that NVIDIA will pay a larger dividend in the distant future. We'll see. So that's why I'm holding on to it, and I'm enjoying the ride, pretty much 10xing my investment. But I'll just scroll through this really quickly if you want to see what I'm invested in an M1. I'll also leave a link below so you can see what those positions are, as well as my allocation to each of those. But most of these are just blue chip stocks, household names that everyone pretty much knows about or has heard of. We're almost to the end here. We'll see what the smallest position is right now, which is Pinnacle West, which is a utility at $850 in that position. So let's go to the front page, the portfolio tab. I'll just go over it real quick. We'll just look at the 1-year performance, and we were closer to like 30% when, right over here, when we had that bump right after the election, but we've gone down a little bit, and that's okay. It's just putting things on sale again, but just you can see overall, just over the last year, how this has climbed from pretty much 210-ish, and we're in the 270s now. So we've gone up about 60K in value with this portfolio, and I haven't made any large contributions into it, pretty much just doing $200 per week. But that shows you just how much the market has gone up over the last 12 months. So let's go ahead and we'll jump into the activity log, and we'll see what those 5 stocks were. And I just bought them. I just did the deposit, you can see on the 20th, and then the buys just happened like minutes ago. So I'll click here. So first up was Allstate. I had an extra penny, so I put the extra penny into Allstate, so $20 went there. And we can see the quantity was, these are all going to be fractional, by the way. So I bought about 10% of a share, 0.10175 for Allstate there. And then HP, $20, and that bought 0.54689. So a little over half a share, you can see, has a lower share price at $36. And then next up, Broadcom for $20. This has been a really good growth stock for me as well. They've been aggressively growing the dividend as well. The last dividend increase they announced in December, I believe, was 14%. So Broadcom is kind of like a have your cake and eat it too type of investment, at least for me. Of course, what I'm buying is not investment advice. And we see here the quantity that was purchased is 0.12422. And then next up, Illinois Works, and that bought me 0.07519 of a share there. And not a whole lot of people talk about Illinois Toolworks, but that's another good stock for me too. I've had good appreciation. Their last stock increase or their dividend increase was 7% for Illinois Toolworks, and then Pepsi has not been doing great the past couple months. So you can see the share price is down to 158. So I decided to put $20 into Pepsi, buying it as it's going down in the decline. But I think Pepsi long term is going to be a good investment. So I bought 0.12627 of a share of Pepsi. We're going to jump over to my Google Docs spreadsheets, and I'll leave a link below also for this spreadsheet. This is where I track all of the positions within the M1 portfolio, as well as tracking other things like my net worth, and we'll get into that as well. We'll go into the other 85% of my net worth. So you can see here on this sheet that this tracks again the 52 positions I own in the M1 portfolio, and everything is arranged by pay date. We can see the company ticker symbol, my cost basis gain or loss, the percent gain or loss in a percentage. Anything above 25% will be in green. Here's the quarterly dividend per share. Anything in blue here, these are monthly pairs, so these pay me every month. We can see the dividend, like BST, is going to pay me approximately $4.95 at the end of November, and it just keeps going up because I keep dripping that dividend back in there. We're going to soon be over $500 for BST. We can see again, everything is ranged by pay dates. We are in November, and these are the dividends I've received so far for the month of November with Starbucks and BST. Remaining, I've put in the dividend for Caterpillar. It technically pays today, but I have to add a day in because M1 has a 1-day delay. So actually tomorrow I'll receive the Caterpillar $7.84. And what I'll do is I'll drip that back in, and then we'll see the next dividend for Caterpillar go up. And then the same will be repeated for Starbucks and BST. So what I've done here is for the 5 positions where I bought more fractional shares with Broadcom, HP, Illinois Toolworks, you can see I've hard-coded the dividend paid here because we're going to see the next dividend go up. So we're going to see the incrementals and see what the $20 does to the next dividend that's going to pay me. I believe, yeah, there are 2 more. So yeah, also Allstate will for sure get over the $6 mark for Allstate. And then Pepsi, of course, is going to go up too from 16.32 up. We'll see if we can get this closer to 7 for HP. We'll see where it'll be at with the $20 once it takes effect. What I have to do is I have to grab some data from M1, and what we'll do is we'll paste it onto the sheet, and it's going to be from the holdings tab. We'll do that in just a second, but I want to show you some other things in the sheet too. Like it tracks the total dividends for each of these positions, like SCHD. I've received so far $6,347.96. And then if the next dividend is the same, here's what my dividend will be at the end of December, but this is likely to change. That's why I have that in purple. I consider SCHD's dividend variable every quarter. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. And then the last increase, this was for SCHD. They had a 4% increase over from 2023. We don't know yet what the 2024 dividend increase is because we haven't gotten all of those dividends. You see, like I said, with Broadcom last year, they increased their dividend in December by 14%. Hopefully we get the same thing because it'll really kick up this dividend here. Even if it's 10%, it's going to be plus 73 cents to my next dividend there. And I'll scroll down here and show you some other things as well. Here is the market value of the portfolio. Here's my cost basis. Here is my gain or loss with dividends. Here is the yield percentage of the portfolio. It's the average yield percentage. And here's the average yield on cost at 3.46%. A lot of people ask, well, why don't you just invest into an index fund, a total stock market index fund, and or even SCHD? And the reason why I don't just invest in like VTI is it pays about a 1.4% dividend. That's not enough for me to live off of those dividends. I don't want to have to sell shares. I just want to live off of the dividends, and that's why I created this portfolio. And then another reason why I wouldn't just go with SCHD alone is SCHD doesn't have REITs in it, and they also recently cut out companies like Broadcom, which I think are great growers. You can see my percent gain or loss with this investment. We'll compare it to SCHD, which is below 25%. So I also want aggressive appreciation as well. But I do like SCHD. I just don't want to just use it. So I'm better diversified with some growth as well as things, SCHD doesn't have in there, like REITs. So I've kind of built kind of like my own index in here. And again, this is 15% of my total net worth. Most of my net worth is in VTI and VTSAX, things like that, and VU. So just wanted to get that out there. And then what this going on here is, since BST and O are monthly pairs, and since I keep shuffling the deck, so to speak, with the pay date, like when Yum Brands announces their new pay date, which will be December 7th approximately, I'll put that new date in there, rearrange it. It's going to push Yum around to the December 7th, right about here with Southern Company. But what happens is O and BST, their amounts get lost in the shuffle. And since they're monthly payers, I have to add them in twice to come up with a total for the quarterly dividend. So what I have to do is I have to add them in twice. And here's the math of that. The 509.07 has to be added in twice. That's H60 times 2. So sorry, I'm in the weeds a little bit explaining what this does, but I had to kind of create that kind of array over here and then use a a lookup to find that the V lookups to pull the BST and O's and add them in twice over here. I just couldn't think of a better way to do that because when I add up this column, it's missing 2 months of each of those. So we can see here's the monthly cash flow average of the portfolio at over $1,000. I've hard coded this because we're going to see these three go up once I update the sheet, and it's going to be into the M1 data tab, and we'll just go ahead and do that right now. And we're going to also see again these 5 stocks where I bought the fractional shares. We're going to see the next dividend for these go up. So let's go back to M1 on the holdings tab. What I do is I grab everything from the name column and just grab that data here. I'm going to paste it into a single column on the M1 tab over here, M1 data tab. And what it does is it's going to line up the shares, my cost basis and average cost per share that I've paid into over here. It's going to take this, everything in column A, and it's going to line it up and do a VLOOKUP on the first tab, dividend portfolio tab. And since this is for SCHD here, these shares and cost basis and average, those did not change at all. Same with BST. We didn't buy any more of those. You can see how they're arranged in NVIDIA. And it's only going to change those 5 stocks because the other ones didn't change. So we're going to go back over here. We're going to take a look at the next new dividend for each of these. We're also going to see the new monthly, quarterly, and annual dividend for the portfolio. And we're going to go into some historicals on this portfolio as well. So first up with Broadcom, the dividend would be $7.30 at the end of December, but instead it's going to be $7.37. We'll delete that. For some reason it is not deleting. There we go. And then we'll go over here to HP. The dividend was going to be $6.89, and that's going to be in January 3rd approximately. It's going to be $7.04 now. And then next up, Illinois Toolworks is going to move from $8.59 to $8.70. And then the next two, and like I said, Allstate is going to go up above the $6 mark. So from $5.98 And then on January 3rd, it's going to be 608. And then Pepsi is going to go from 1632 to 1649 on January 7th. And I know these are small increments, but I'm doing these increments all the time. I'm doing 2 buys per week. I drip dividends, and there's also dividend increases. So you have like four things, four forces that are moving these dividends higher and higher. And we'll take a look here. Here's the monthly cash flow average as well as quarterly and annual. We can see now we're going to get 1,146 instead of 26, so it's added 20 cents there. It's not a lot, but it, like I'm telling you, it all adds up as I do these videos. This was a little more moving the needle here from 3003 to 3004, and then from 1215 to 1217 on the annual. So we'll delete those. We're going to take this value for the monthly, the 1,146, and we're going to put this in the monthly average dividend tracking tab. Scroll all the way down in this table here. And what I do is I track every single event that I do. So 1,001.46. And there's that 20 cents, and that was because of a $100 deposit with those 5 buys of fractional shares. So tomorrow then I'll have another event, which will be the Caterpillar dividend drip. It's going to be very small. It's going to be like 1 or 2 cents adding to my monthly income. But you can see though, in November alone, here are all the events I've had with dividend increases, drips, and buys. We can see how that's gone up. I've added $5.94 to monthly income just in November alone. And I'll show you where I track all this over on the Dividend Tracker tab. And I've been doing these videos for almost 4 years now. January 2021, here's the portfolio value starting at $18,700. Of course, this is where I started tracking it. I started a course a lot lower where I was just putting in $100 a week for a little while, and then started kicking it up and boosting my deposits. But I wasn't kicking in a whole lot of money at first, but then let's see where it was. I started kicking in a whole bunch right about here, and that was August 2022. I had some money in a home. I had some money just kind of sitting there in savings from a home I no longer own. So I put that money to work for me into this portfolio instead. You can see those big deposits that were made for several months, and I kicked it back down, and now I'm only doing the $200 per week. And I'm thinking in 2025 of maybe only just reinvesting dividends and then paying off my home mortgage. We'll see. I haven't come up with a plan quite yet. So you can see we're in November 2024. Here is the current portfolio value rounded to the nearest $100. And then here are the dividends received so far in November. And then here's the new average monthly dividend. And here's that 594 again. Here's the monthly increase, which is a 0.6 month over month gain. And here's the annual dividend. So pretty much this portfolio is earning me $12,000 a year, or actually over that, $12,017. I've added $71.32 of annual income to this portfolio. And then here is another $100 deposit for $600. And then to close this video out, let's go to my total net worth statement. And it's gone down because we've kind of dipped from the highs from the election. That is where I had the highest net worth, was right about here, November 11th, 10th, 11th-ish. But we've gone down a little bit since. But still, I'm at a pretty good net worth, and I'll show you what it consists of, the other 85%. Here is where the portfolio is right here, the 271. And then at Vanguard, I have an IRA, traditional, Roth, taxable brokerage account. These are all in ETFs, boring indexes like, VU, VXUS. I have a little bit of international exposure. VTSAX, VTI. That's what it primarily consists of. And then I have a 401k over here. This is my current employer, an S&P 500 index fund by Fidelity FXAIX. And then here is an IRA. I have an M1. You can see it's over $700,000 right now. More ETFs in here. And then again, here's my dividend portfolio. And then here's my 1-year emergency fund over at M1 getting 4.25%. And Synchrony, I have a 6-month emergency fund at 4.3% interest. And then Capital One, this is like a 2-month emergency fund. I should probably transfer 2,700 over, probably to Synchrony, but I haven't done that yet. And then here is the value of my home. And then here are my liabilities, where I have a credit card balance, but I don't carry the balance over. I pay my credit card balance off in full every single month. But here's just the current balance. I have plenty of cash right here to pay that off, but it's not due till December 8th. But I'm going to probably pay it off probably before December 1st. I like to pay things off early. So here's my total net worth, of course, subtracting out the liabilities. Net worth is right at 1.785 million, and here's what it consists of. The breakdown: 86% stocks, 8% home equity, and 5% cash. And here's the breakdown between pre-tax IRA, 401k, 61% and 39% is in after tax. And then here's the breakdown: US international. We can see here is my average monthly dividend. If I were to live off of all of my income sources, which are from my IRA, 401k, as well as savings account interest, adding in everything, it's almost at $3,300. And of course, I'm not eligible to tap into IRAs, 401ks yet. I'm not 59 and a half years old. But when I am, I could technically just live off of the $3,300. And then here is where I track my dividends by month. And then this is my net worth, starting from November 2022. I also track my W-2 income, subtract out expenses to make sure I have a gap. Here's starting net worth about 2 years ago. We can just do some quick math just in 2 years, how I've increased my net worth here. I'll do it real quick over here. So I've added over $500,000 just doing what I'm doing with contribute to my 401k, things like that, and no major like windfalls at all. Because you can see my W-2 income expenses. I don't make like a huge amount of money, especially with YouTube. I make hardly anything from it, and that's fine with me because I just want to help people out and show people how I'm building wealth. And to me, making money off of it is not my objective at all. If it was, I would make much more polished videos and put more time into it. I just have much more stuff going on. I just don't have the time to do it. So we can see here is the last month where I had my total net worth at 1.742 in October, with a gap right there, which is smaller than normal. I had some expenses in there. And then there's a nice gap month here where I had a bonus with my W-2. I have 2 months where I get a bonus, but usually I don't get it because my W-2 net is pretty flat right around there, with a couple bumps in March and then August. So I've already had the bump. I won't get another one till March. So that's all I had to show you guys for this video, was what I bought to close out the week for my trading 5 buys. Let me know in the comments